My friends, welcome to this Outdoor News Wave episode. My name is Luke. This is the Outdoor Gear Review. While I have numerous outdoor stories to share with you all in this episode, one of them is very weird. One of them is from my state of North Carolina. One of them is from the exact same location that I've been camping at over the course of the last month. In addition to that weird story, we have other stories that are quite tragic that really do show how you have to be prepared, you have to be diligent, or bad things can happen. And I'm talking about with bears, black bears and grizzly bears. To start, my friends, let's focus on the story from North Carolina, from my home state, from the area that I've been camping at for the last month. This story originates from the Pisgah National Forest, more specifically the Linville Gorge area. Just in case you do not know, the Pisgah National Forest is huge. It is over 500,000 acres. It is roughly the same size as the state of Rhode Island. To put it in another way, you can take 6 New York cities and they will all fit within the Pisgah National Forest. That's how big it is. On October the 15th, SAR teams were dispatched to assist 2 lost hikers in the Linville Gorge area. They had been out hiking a trail known as the Mountain to Sea Trail, which goes from the mountains of North Carolina all the way down to the coast. That is just one trail system that's in that area, and it's known for being a hard trail to navigate. The trails, they're in poor shape, especially after Hurricane Helene with the fallen trees and whatnot. On a good day, it would be tough to navigate that trail in some sections. Anyways, 2 individuals were hiking that trail and they became lost. Luckily, they had cell phone service, so they called 911. The dispatcher told them to stay put, that help was on the way. The dispatcher used the technology that's available to them and they GPS located those individuals. They sent that information to the SARS team, the search and rescue team. That's where this story becomes weird. They became lost, called 911, they were told to stay put. So what did they do? They attempted to self-rescue, and they made matters so much worse. The 2 individuals who were lost on this trail did not know that they were only 10 minutes away from a forest road, but they decided to self-rescue, going in the opposite direction, deeper and deeper into the forest. They ended up on a completely different trail, and it took search and rescue teams over 2 hours to locate these people. This should have been a very quick and easy rescue, but instead it turned into quite the ordeal that took over 2 hours to complete. Because these individuals acted so foolishly, officials did release a statement, and they emphasized the importance of following directions, plain and simple. If you get lost while you're out adventuring, and you have the ability to call 911, follow the instructions. Do not let your egos dictate your actions. Plain and simple, follow the instructions of those that you called for help who are going to help you. The public statement is as follows. We can't emphasize enough how important it is to stay put once you call 911. Dispatchers can obtain your GPS coordinates and rescuers can use that information to plan the quickest and the safest route to reach you. Moving after calling for help makes it more difficult and time-consuming for rescue teams to locate you. In addition, you're putting those rescue teams in danger. That section of the Pisgah National Forest is very remote. It's very rugged. There's a lot of dangers there. A lot of people die in that area. In addition, you have natural predators, you have venomous snakes, and so on. This is one of those situations where I believe those that needed to be rescued should be charged. If not criminally, they should certainly be fined. And the reason is simple. They did not follow instructions. Getting lost, having a mishap, that happens. Letting your ego getting in the way and making matters worse, that's completely different. Those 2 individuals are lucky that search and rescue was able to locate them. That's ridiculous. Interestingly enough, a few days after this rescue operation took place, someone else had to be rescued from the area. They did not become lost, but they got to the point where they could go on no further. They couldn't go any further and they couldn't go back. Because of that, they contacted 911 and a rescue team went out there to assist them. And they stayed put. They did exactly what they were told to do. Now, my friends, let's focus on a story that's coming out of the great state of Arkansas. This story broke at the end of September, and only now are all of the details coming out. So this is what took place. And folks, this is unfortunate, it is tragic, and it could have been prevented. A man named Max Thomas, who was from Missouri, was found dead several yards outside of his campsite in Arkansas. This happened After, authorities were contacted by his loved ones. They had lost contact with him. Before they lost contact with him, he had sent some pictures to his family of a black bear being in his campsite. The local sheriff had received a phone call from the man's son. The man had lost contact with his dad. He was becoming worried. The sheriff went out to the location, found his vehicle, found the campsite, and saw signs of a struggle. Upon arriving at the campsite, they begun their search for the 60-year-old man, which I should mention, he was camping at the Sam's Throne camp area. While investigating, he discovered drag marks going off into the forest. He followed those drag marks several hundred yards away from the campsite, and he found the man's body. The official statement is as follows. The campsite had been disturbed and there was evidence of a struggle and injury. There were also drag marks leading from the campground into the woods. The man's body was found outside of the campsite. His body had extensive injuries consistent with those from a very large carnivore attack. Using the information that the sheriff's office had, including pictures of the black bear, they were able to locate the bear and they put it down. And they had to. Apparently, after this happened, the sheriff's office received quite a bit of hate concerning this, quite a bit of protest. The thing is this, once a black bear attacks a human, this is behavior that they will continue. That's why the bear had to be put down. Unfortunately, this is not the first bear attack that has taken place in Arkansas this year. Earlier in September, another attack took place. Sometime before the 60-year-old man was attacked at Sam's Throne, another attack took place with a 72-year-old in Franklin County. I am not sure what the relation is between Sam's Throne and Franklin County. I don't get the feeling that they're in the same area, just in the same state. Anyways, the attack in Franklin County with the 72-year-old, that too was fatal. Bear attacks in Arkansas are exceptionally uncommon. The last attack took place in 2006. The last fatal attack took place in 1892. Bear attacks in the United States over the last 100 years are exceptionally uncommon, with only 60 accounts being reported. Without a doubt, my thoughts go out to the two individuals who lost their lives in Arkansas and to their families. Now, my friends, let's shift our focus over to a story coming out of Canada involving a grizzly bear. This story broke in the middle of October as well, and this one involved two individuals who were out hiking a very popular trail when they came across a mother bear and her cubs. The mother bear acted in self-defense and attacked these two individuals. It's not entirely sure how help was called, but help was called. These two individuals were taken from British Columbia via helicopter to a local hospital. As it stands right now, one is doing well and the other is in critical condition. Following this attack, obviously, an investigation was launched. The trails were closed down, they looked at the evidence, and they determined that the bears acted appropriately. In other words, they were acting in self-defense. They were not going to be put down or harmed in any way. Basically, the mother bear was protecting her young. Hopefully, with these two individuals, they will make a full recovery. They are very lucky to be alive, that's for sure. When it comes to these bear attack stories, there's one aspect that I've noticed has gone silent, and that's bear protection. And I'm talking more specifically about bear spray rather than like a firearm or something like that. The vast majority of people who have to use bear spray in a situation like this walk away unharmed. The vast majority of people who pull a firearm in a situation like this are harmed, if not killed. A lot of people do not consider just how large these animals are. Naturally, grizzly bears, they're huge. Black bears, they could be gigantic as well. Something like bear spray, you don't have to be all that accurate, and it's very, very effective. Not only that, but it's very easy to use in a high-stress situation. And that's important to consider. With that being said, everyone, on my channel, I do have a video going over what you should do when it comes to a bear attack with black bears and grizzlies. Make sure to watch that episode as soon as you can so that you can prevent any issues like what these individuals have experienced in the future. It is absolutely vital that you know what to do and that you're prepared for a situation like what these individuals have faced. The simple truth is, you do not want to go through a bear attack. Black bear, grizzly bear, any bear, you want to be bear aware. You want to make sure that this does not happen. You do not want to be injured. You do not want to be killed. The simple truth is, folks, being attacked by a bear, being killed by a bear, this is an awful experience to go through. It is not something that happens quickly, but rather slowly. You're talking about a lot of pain. You're talking about a lot of consciousness and awareness while all of this is taking place. And folks, why don't we go ahead and talk about that for a minute to really drive home the point that you do not want this to happen to you. You want to be bear aware, and you need to be prepared to handle a situation with a rogue attacking bear. First things first, if you're not aware of who I am and what this channel is, and maybe you just stumbled upon this episode, I live in western North Carolina. There's a large black bear population here. Here at Lone Wolf Mountain, this property that I own, I've captured 600-pound monster black bears. Not the cute and cuddly ones, I'm talking about the monsters. I mention this because I'm not just some guy reading off information. I have experience with these animals, and I know exactly what I'm talking about. Bear attacks, when they happen, they are horrific. Again, this is not something that you want to go through. This is not something that you want to experience. When a bear attack happens, it is brutal, it is violent. And if someone happens to live through a bear attack, they are scarred and disfigured forever afterwards. Instinctually, bears will attack the face, the neck, the head. They will crush bones, crush eye sockets, break jaws, rip and tear flesh with their teeth, with their claws. When a bear attacks, they will strike over and over and over and over again. And if you happen to live through such an event, you could plan on scarring, disfigurement, possibly blindness, and more. But let's say that someone wasn't going to survive the attack. What they go through is horrific from beginning to end. They're conscious the entire time, feeling every claw mark, every bite, every rip, tear, broken bone. This isn't like a shark attack where like the strike happens and then it's over. The attack continues on. And you never know, the bear might decide to eat you, prolonging the torture, the pain, and whatnot. This is why you have to be prepared, you have to be diligent, and you have to be bear aware. This is why I recommend bear spray. I completely understand why someone would carry a firearm with them to protect them from other people. But when it comes to bears, black bear, grizzly bears, nothing is more effective than bear spray. And folks, that is where I will wrap up this episode. I want to thank you all so much for not only watching this episode, but for sending in these stories. Every story that I report on comes from you all. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the thumbs up. I do appreciate it. Also, if you come across any other outdoor news stories that you feel like I should report on, send me an email. Until next time, everyone, take care, be well, strength and honor. Bye for now.